What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ross, I like games, and today we are looking at the fact that wish leaders are coming around in the Dragonball Super card game. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, I brought you a video just a couple of days ago telling you some of the new information we've got about Series 5 and what's going to be happening to the game. And I told you about wish leaders, and I told you, perfectly honestly, that we didn't really have time to get into it in that video. Well, the great news is, ladies and gentlemen, that right now we do have time to get into it. So what are these wish leaders all about? Well, up to now, we have had Awaken leaders in the Dragonball Super card game. And that's literally been it. That's what we've had. And that is all that we have had. And all of them work in basically the same way. You have a leader, and when you have a certain amount of life remaining, usually 4, but then again, some of them, like the androids, it was 6. You get to flip over, awaken the leader, and then it was either draw cards or turn some of your energy active again. That was basically what they did. And pretty much every leader fell into that category. And that's fine, we knew where we were. And now with Series 5, we're getting wish leaders, which are not the same, and they're going to bring very big changes around to the card game. The first thing we need to note is that it's not awakening when you've got a certain amount of life left. So at the moment, it's basically a rush to awaken. Because generally, the leaders are better when they do awaken. So like the first 4 damage, you're not that worried about because it gets you closer to awakening. And then after that, you're absolutely fine. And you need to really make sure that you're not taking too much extra damage. So we see cards like Tien seeing a lot of play. And it's not the only reason, but one of the reasons is that you get to take 2 life into your hand when you play it, which means you get closer to awakening. And that's really nice. That's not the case with wish leaders. With wish leaders, it's very much a case of it's all about the Dragon Balls. So let's have a quick look at the Dragon Ball card, shall we? So the Dragon Ball card says you can include as many copies of cards with Dragon Ball in your deck as you like, as long as the total number does not exceed 7. Just as a quick side note, right? Why don't they just say you can have 7 in your deck? That seems weird. As a second side note, and I know I'm not the first person to say this, why do we have one artwork with all 7 Dragon Balls on? Why don't we have 7 different artworks with each of the Dragon Balls on? That would be so much cooler. And it's an extra card, which is completely free, and if your leader is a Shenron card, you get to draw a card. Now, we've got 2 wish leaders revealed so far. One is a Shenron, one isn't. More on those in a moment. Okay, so you get to draw a card if it's a Shenron, you can put 7 in your deck. But what does it actually do? Well, if we take Shenron to begin with, the front of the leader is Dragon Ball. It's got 10,000 power, it can't attack, but obviously you need that power to defend. And it's got an activate main, switch this card to rest mode, choose up to 2 Dragon Ball cards from your deck or life and add them to your hand. Then shuffle any areas you looked through. That's really important, because if you couldn't search your life as well, then it basically meant if any Dragon Ball ended up in your life, you wouldn't be able to essentially awaken or wish, and that would be very, very bad. Of course, you really don't want them in your life, so you don't want to lose your life, but if they're in your life, there's nothing you can do about it. And then, if all 7 Dragon Ball cards are in your drop area, you can choose 1 desire card in your drop area, add it to your hand, and flip this card over. And obviously the main thing here, you just get to put them into your hand. There's like a million different cards that can discard them from your hand or drop them from your hand. And as for desire cards, no one seems to know what they are. I can't seem to find any references to them. We'll have to wait and see. The first lot of cards from set 5 are going to be dropped on Friday. So on Friday you can expect a video telling you about desire cards and all kinds of other fun things. And then you get to flip over. So you flip over not when you've got a certain amount of life remaining, but when there are 7 Dragon Balls in your drop. Then you get Shenron here. And again, it can't attack. But once during your turn, you can choose 1 of 3 effects. Again, it's got 15,000 power like we would expect. Firstly, you can draw a card. That's a bit weak. We're not too into that. It's fine, but it's not amazing. Secondly, choose 1 desire card in your hand of an energy cost less than or equal to your current energy and use its activate main skill, i.e. you get to use a free desire card, which sounds pretty good, but will probably sound better when we know what desire cards actually do. And then there's like a super duper move. Remove 7 Dragon Ball cards from your drop area from the game. So they're not going to your warp, they're literally gone from the table, they're off. If you do, choose one of your battle cards and it gets plus 10,000 power and triple attack. And then at the end of your turn, you flip this card over. So you get these amazing effects, but it's once per game. Because you've got to remove the Dragon Balls from the game, and then you flip back over to Dragon Ball from Shenron. And because the Dragon Balls have gone and you need 7 in your drop to do this, and you can only put 7 in your deck, once you use Wish and then use your big skill, that's it. It's a once per game kind of thing. But then again, giving your battle card plus 10,000 power and triple attack is pretty gosh darn good. And then, of course, you're really going to want to use a card to give it critical here. And again, there's a million different cards that can do that to really take advantage. That's pretty powerful. It's a kind of skill that's going to take a bit of playing. You're not just going to be able to use it wildly, but wait for the right turn and it will be brilliant. Now, we do have a second Wish leader that's been revealed, which follows the same kind of thing here. And on the front, we've got Sorbe. And I'm sorry, I cannot remember how to pronounce his name. I apologise for that. Once per turn, and this one can attack, because it doesn't say it can't. When one of your battle cards attacks, it gets plus 5,000 power. Then choose up to 1 Dragon Ball card from your deck or life and add it to your hand. So this is kind of cool, right? Both the leaders we've seen so far have a search for Dragon Ball function. Shenron gets 2, Sorb gets 1, but it's still better than nothing. That's pretty nice. Plus, you actually get to attack with him. And once per turn, you get to add 5,000 power to one of your battle cards. That doesn't sound terrible to me. And then when there are 7 Dragon Ball cards in your drop, you choose a desire card from your drop and add it to your hand. So unlike the old Awaken leaders, it's not draw cards, it's not flip over energy, it's add a desire card from your drop to your hand. We still don't know what they do. And then we end up with Frieza Resurrected Emperor. And you're probably seeing the trend here. Sorb collects the Dragon Balls to resurrect Frieza, whereas Shenron comes out of the 7 Dragon Balls, so it basically seems like they're going to pick times the Dragon Balls were used, and you're going to have the person that used them, the character that used them on one side, and the character that benefited from it on the other side. Or maybe if they were the same person, they'll be the same person. And then Frieza Resurrected Emperor has a similar kind of deal. Once during your turn, you can choose one of 3 things. Draw 1 card, choose a yellow or black desire card from your hand with an energy cost less than or equal to your current energy, and use its activate main skill. So that is very, very similar to Shenron. In fact, the only real difference is Shenron is any desire card in your hand, whereas Frieza is any yellow or black desire card. Other than that, they're the same so far. And then you've got the monster skill here. Remove 7 Dragon Ball cards in your drop area from the game, and then flip this back at the end of the turn. If you do, choose a total of up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards and energy, switch them to rest mode, and this card gains 15,000 power for the duration of the turn. So you end up with 30,000 power, and you get to put 2 of your opponent's battle cards or energy into rest mode. Of course, putting energy into rest mode means they can't use it, and putting a battle card into rest mode means it can be attacked, because unless you've got a card that says otherwise, you cannot attack a card that is in the active mode. This doesn't seem quite as over-the-top great as Shenron, in terms of the big thing here, but then again, you can attack, whereas Shenron can't. And this does give a little bit of disruption, although the idea of adding 10,000 and triple strike to one of my characters, I'm loving Shenron a bit more than Frieza at the moment, but then again Shenron can't attack, which really will help to balance the scales. And that's what we know so far. We don't know what the other Wish leaders are going to be. We don't know if all the leader cards in set 5 are going to be Wish rather than Awaken. I wish they wouldn't be, but I rather think they probably will. At the very minimum, I'm expecting to see Wish leaders for every colour. We don't know what desire cards do, and we've seen that Frieza and Shenron are both very similar once you get the Wish going. But we don't know if that's going to continue in other cards. Lots of unanswered questions for the time being, but that's okay. As I've said, these should start to be answered on Friday, and I will be back on Friday with a video answering whichever of these questions I can. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to hear from you guys. Do you like these Wish leaders? Do you rather we stuck to Awaken? Do you think they're going to be good, or do you think they're a gimmick and everyone's just going to use Awaken leaders anyway? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, but do remember to be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, because I generally put everything out over Twitter, and it's a good way to keep in touch. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves. Until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.